Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another mini episode of our Chromebook Classroom. Today, we are tearing down the walls of our classroom and exploring the world with our amazing social studies consultant. Good morning, Sam. How are you?
I'm good, Trish. Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to share this new amazing tool that we can use in social studies. So I look forward to exploring today.
And so you and I have had a lot of chats over the last little bit because I know you are somebody that really embraced technology as part of your own classroom and really use it as a way to not only enhance the textbook, enhance our understanding of the world, but you're also going to help us with a bit of cognitive strategies that we can use combined with that's really going to allow students to learn deeper and longer when it comes to place-based education, history, culture, people, names, dates. Social studies is full of that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got so much involved, and unfortunately, sometimes we kind of go to that lowest common denominator of recall and those moments where we just want our students to learn the facts. But really what we're hoping for is our students to have experiences so that they can make connections and then essentially transfer that understanding. So how do we take a textbook, or how do we take some amazing new tools like Google Earth and other pieces of technology, but really help our students to engage in the material so that they can transfer that knowledge, right? Not just here's some interesting facts about a particular place, but what does that actually mean? What does that mean for society? What does that mean for identity and cultures? And looking at it from that broader and bigger perspective of understanding really what we're looking for in social studies. So what I kind of focus on is how do we take the textbook and how do we take tools like Google Earth and embed thinking routines for our students? We really want to focus on getting them thinking again. No longer do we want this ping pong style classroom where teachers are asking one thing and students are responding directly back. How do we get them to go deeper and engage with it? So today what I really hope to focus on is using this tool, but some of our thinking routines that can go along with it. And so a lot of the information that I'm talking about today comes from Point Zero, and they kind of look at all those different thinking strategies and thinking routines that we can do alongside with it. So yeah, I'm going to get into some of my favorite thinking strategies and then how that can be used in Google Earth. So are we good to get going on those, do you think?
I love it. And I'm going to pull one word you said. You said experience. We're not just consuming information school. We want to create an experience. And how many of our students really don't have an experience of place, especially this last year with COVID. We can't go anywhere, but there's so many students who've never really left their neighborhoods or their cities. And for them to have an experience of place along with those visual thinking strategies, I think is a very exciting day for school. So you're going to take us into the brand new Google Earth. I remember, Sam, when this was an install program on the few computers in the library. And now this is a free program available on any device, but especially works amazing on our Chromebooks, right?
That's right. So one of the things that we have with our Chromebooks as teachers is the ability to kind of pull Google Earth and really use it as a whole school classroom environment. And then later on, we can look at how our students can use it as an individual tool. But today we're really looking at Voyager, and my focus is going to be whole classroom with Voyager. So what I would recommend doing is choosing your Google Voyager. We'll go in and look at some of those and then kind of developing a See, Think, Wonder or a thinking strategy with that. So I'm going to pull it up here and we're going to voyage into Voyager right now. So this is the landing page that you get when you go onto Google Earth at first. So you just Google Earth, and this is where we start. So today we're really focusing only on this little kind of wheel over here. It looks like a sailboat wheel is kind of what I describe it as.
We're the captains of our classroom. We've got this.
So you just click on that there. And what's amazing about this is it has a tremendous amount of already created, already made voyages for you. And we'll look at some of the favorites and we'll look at all the options later. But what we can do with this before that, when we're planning our lessons, of course, we always want to make sure that we've got learning intentions set up. What is the purpose for this Google Voyager? And then what is the success criteria for the students? And there's lots of information on the SharePoint site if you want to get information on setting your Google intention or your learning intentions and your success criteria. But really, we want to make sure we have that first. Our students need to know why we're doing this. What are they looking for? And then I love embedding the strategy of See, Think, Wonder. So from a very young age to the very top of that, like grade 6 level, we should be practicing those thinking strategies and that metacognition as often as possible. And Google Earth gives us a great opportunity to do that. So See, Think, Wonder, quick strategy. I often get the kids to fold a piece of loose leaf paper. They can use a Chromebook. There's so many different strategies, but they create 3 columns. and they focus in one on what is it that they're seeing in relation to that learning intention, right? So always going back to that learning intention, but what are they seeing in relation to that learning intention throughout the voyage? What are they thinking? And a lot of times with our younger kids, we have to explain what thoughts are and how that relates, and then eventually hone that skill of thinking about the learning intention, of course, and then wondering, what are we wondering about the picture? What do we have questions about? What would we like to investigate further in this Google Voyager? And I love those wonderings because we can go back to that at any time as teachers as well. You need to do a guided reading group for 20 minutes. Have your students pick a wonder from your See Think Wonder from the Google
Mm.
Voyager yesterday. Go and explore that for 20 minutes. And then they're using content and then also exploring their own passion and inquiry projects. So See Think Wonder is one of those great strategies I think to use with Google Voyager. So if you're planning your lessons with that, I would highly recommend a See Think Wonder. There's a lot of other strategies you can do while working with a Voyager. You could do a 5-finger fact sheets if you're looking at facts. You can use Think, Pair, Share, again, focusing on that pair part of listening to my partner and then responding, not just waiting to speak, I think is really important when we think about our Think, Pair, Shares, and providing lots of time for them to think about it. Process time, allowing them to have the opportunity to actually think about what it is that they're experiencing is really going to enhance the actual piece of technology and actually have it be really successful in our social studies classroom. So yeah, so
I
I
love
would say
those
go in.
strategies. Now, for any of us that are like quickly trying to write down these strategies, you actually have some links for us below this video, taking us to these different strategies that we can try along with the new Google Earth Voyager. So that's really great. But I'm looking at this and I'm already getting excited. This is beautiful. There are hundreds and hundreds of these Voyagers already created for us. And when you go there and you start to scroll, I notice that there's some categories. There's like nature, games, education. Like these are already done.
Yeah, these are already made for you, which is fantastic. And I'm gonna just kind of throw across curricular there as well. I mean, there's science, there's math in here, right? Triangular structures are there. So Google Earth isn't just for social. I want people to know that they can use it in so many other subject matters, but it is fantastic for social studies. So again, what I love about some of these is it's not even just particularly about a specific place. Like this one talks about Champlain's astrobe. So it's the technology that they used, right? So again, which is kind of one of our outcomes in social studies when we're learning about settlement and exploration and things like that. But there's so many here that for myself, I spent a good week just going through and exploring which ones, and all my creative juices were flowing thinking about different lessons that we can do with them. So I love all the opportunities that are here. And I have a couple that I can share that are my favorites if you want to see those ones.
Yes, please. You've got some things for us because I know I'm looking at these and I'm seeing poetry, I'm seeing history, I'm seeing culture, careers. It's not just place tours, but you do have some that have some curricular connections for us.
Right. So on the SharePoint page, if you go there to the Social Studies SharePoint page, there's a Google Voyager button that you can click, and it has every grade level that I've curated. With each grade level has a video as well as links to it, some lesson ideas and plans that you can use. So there's lots of stuff and fun things in there for you to explore. But one of my favorites for myself for grade 5 is the Underground Railroad experience. So unfortunately, it's one of those small, tiny little sections in the textbook, so it doesn't get as much attention as I think that it should because of that particular resource. So bringing in something like Google Earth and experiencing, you just click Start Exploring, and it's going to take you through all of these amazing journeys and places that they went to. So if you're talking about secret codes, for example, with your grade 5 students, you could talk about some of the places that they actually experienced. You can go through here, and again, you're moving around, you're talking about, see, what do they think about this experience? What do they wonder about this? You could talk about a specific person. You could talk about Harriet Tubman and her journey. You could talk about those different things and how this pathway led to different Black communities here in Canada. So there's lots. And then as you go through, you're able to just click through the different experiences as you go through along here. So this one's got 9 different exploration tabs. So again, it's going to take you to the next one already ready for you, right? And built in talking already, giving you those talking points as a teacher, or those guided reading or reading sections for your students as well, right? So again, you can assign this for them to use in Google Classroom as well. They go through the Voyage, they're doing this reading on their own as well. That's a possibility. So that's one of the things that I really love about Google Voyager is its versatility, but it's already made for you, right? It's a prompt. You can learn from it, students can engage in it, and then you just build and scaffold from there. So this is one of my favorites, the Underground Railroad. For grade 3, I love the Rivers of India. Again, our textbook doesn't give as much visual aspects of the geography of the different places around at the different communities that we're studying. So Rivers of India are fantastic. There's also some for Peru. There's some for Ukraine. There's amazing ones all, again, available in SharePoint ready to go for you. But Rivers of India, I love to kind of go through. You pick one particular river. Already that image that you see honing in is such a great visual for grade 3 students, understanding where those rivers actually are and how much of the land it takes up. And then, of course, we've got the description over here and some additional images so you can, again, hone in on those by clicking on it, and that becomes your focal point. So if you want to do a see, think, wonder just on a particular image, you can have it up like this. Again, the potential for the Google Voyagers are endless, in my opinion. So the rivers, and then of course for grade 2 and for grade 5, we have the Canadian Arctic, and this actually walks through the town of Iqaluit and so again, fantastic for grade 2. This is one of my favorite initial spots out of, I think, all of the Voyagers. It's literally just a road to nowhere.
Road to Apex,
right?
this is so great.
Right. It's just, and then imagine what grade 2 students would start to see and think, and how this would develop that curiosity, right? Those moments in time where they're actually wanting to engage in this material and asking questions, talking to each other about what they're seeing. There's so many amazing things. One of the images I'm going to skip to here, and this is my history buff here, is going to be the actual Hudson Bay cabin.
Yeah.
Got this, right? Like, how much can we explore with our students, allowing them to witness and experience these kind of primary sources, right? We're actually looking at the sources here. We're looking at that historical thinking on top of the geographical thinking, on top of the critical thinking skills. So all of those dimensions of thinking can be embedded, which I really love. I love with Google Earth. And then my last one is This Is Home. And This Is Home is a fantastic one to explore different homes across the globe. And for our, again, grade 3 friends, we have a particular one that focuses in on Peru. And the students can experience and see right on the coastline. So again, we're talking about geographical thinking. We could talk about the coast. These are some homes that they would look like in Peru. And so I loved those experiences. So we have this one, and then it goes through what a reed house would actually look like. And like, I just love the detail. Again, we can explore, we can move around, we could talk about natural resources, we could talk about quality of life, we could talk about identity, culture, all of those things are in here. And then it always goes into a particular home. And again, we're looking at so many different aspects of culture and family and identity here. And so, yeah, the possibilities for Google Voyager really are endless. And there are plenty of thinking strategies we can use with Google Voyager as well. But like I said, I would encourage you to maybe start with the See, Think, Wonder, and then kind of experience there. So if you're really interested in these ones, there's lots of work already done on SharePoint for you. So I hope you go check that out. And Trish, which one is your favorite? What do you think?
Well, I have to say I was a teacher who always taught. I was an English and math teacher. So, I'm seeing those tours. But, a few things to point out here as you're seeing some of these tabs, and maybe you can click through a couple of your Google Earth tabs you have open. But if you think of it from a teaching perspective, there's always an image, there's always a map, there's always some information. And what's really exciting is that it's not static. This is a very dynamic and interactive tool. So right now, if we just look at this Maris Peru, it's giving us that image like you've shown us on the top right-hand side. It's giving us some information. And then on the left-hand side, I'm seeing a map. Now, what's really great is you can actually click on the street view person. So if you click on that person and click and drag, wherever it appears as blue on that map, you can actually drop your person. It's dropping your students into that learning, and they can now click and drag and turn and move. It's still an interactive street view that they're still part of. And so it takes that information, it gives them that visual understanding, that dual coding for their brains, for their recall. What is going to be great? is Sam is going to show us how can we make these. We're getting rid of brochures. We don't just have to have SlideShare. We're going to be doing that in some of our other videos, teacher created and student created projects that look exactly like these Voyagers. This is the place to start. So I'm excited. I know the first thing kids are always going to want to do though, Sam, is they're going to want to search for their house, aren't they? That's like what everyone wants to do, is search for their house or school. So let them use that search button. Let them go to Voyager, and of course, pulling out those favorites. Below this video, you will find the link to the thinking strategies, learning intentions and success criteria, as well as Sam's favorite tours and Voyagers that she has pulled out that match to our Alberta program of studies. And I'm excited for our next video, Sam, when we get to actually make these ourselves as well.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun, and we're going to kind of focus on how to embed all of our curriculum and learning intentions and all of that kind of within our own kind of experiences. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see everybody in the next video.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.